Yeah, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Okay. So we'll go into the discussion directly, ma'am. So regarding the technical specs of the robot, okay?
I'm not able to hear your voice clearly.
Just tell me. Can you hear me now, ma'am?
Yeah.
So are writing down anything, ma'am? Like any notes or something?
Yeah, I'm writing.
Means actually I'm recording the session so that you can after that if you want to review anything you can directly review them. Okay, ma'am. You also note them down, and also I'm recording the session so that it will be easy for you for the
Okay.
explanation. So in the
Okay.
project now, so our project regarding our project now, what we did is like it's an obstacle avoidance robot. If there is any obstacle, then the robot will be taking a turn. It will give us an indication, and it will be avoiding the obstacle. That's our main priority. And according to that, we have made the entire system. So this is regarding with the documentation itself. Already I have checked the documentation also. They have told me that it's a vehicle also just an obstacle avoidance robot. So for this obstacle avoidance robot now, we have two important things. First thing is the controller, and the next thing is the sensor. Because only from the sensor we'll be getting a feedback signal, and only on basing that only now the controller will be controlling the entire robot. Got it, ma'am?
Yeah, got it.
So our major components in the entire robot is that now first is our microcontroller, which is an Arduino Nano. You can write it down now. I'll be slowly telling
Arduino?
you. Arduino Nano.
Okay.
Arduino Nano. And the next version is a sensor, ultrasonic sensor. You can see this now, an ultrasonic
Yeah.
sensor. And next is a motor driver module.
Motor driver?
Motor driver module.
Module.
Hmm.
Okay.
On the top of it now, for the specific indication now, we have created an indication based chip. So this indication chip now, it will be giving us an indication which it has both the red LED, green LED and the buzzer, which is fixed on the chip. Also we have placed another additional option for that, but for now we don't require that. If any urgent cases now, at that time you can use that feature also. Okay, ma'am? So this is regarding the robot. Means you may get it out what is the feature which are actually included. This the special feature is that now it's a step down voltage regulation system which is already fixed in the shell which I have made. So it is handmade and soldered, and also now I have already wired some jumpers also onto them. I have soldered them so that now those jumper wires also now will be directly communicating with the Arduino.
Okay.
Okay. So then I'll be sharing a screenshot for you, like not a screenshot but picture. Just a minute. Can you see the screen, ma'am?
Yeah, got it.
So in that now actually I placed only two LEDs. I have removed one of the LED. Over here actually this is on the breadboard. Actually I created this simple circuit just for the explanation. Okay. At that time while making your project, I can for one additional feature I had to remove an LED. I thought it's not a big use for that, so that's the reason I had removed one. So we have two LEDs, and in those two LEDs now one will be a green LED and one will be a red LED and a buzzer. So over here now, actually we are using Nano. Why? Because now to make the entire robot in a compact version now, I had to use Nano, and it is both the Uno and Nano are the same things only. Only for this now the footprint
Okay.
will be small.
Once I can explain about the Nano, why you use this?
Because I want to entirely compact the size of the robot. You can see the Uno chip is very big actually. Both the Uno and Nano na, they are the same version, and at the same time na, they also are the same pins only. Man. But the only difference is that na, the size, the footprint of the chip is small. Okay, man. So this is the best feature which you will be getting. Actually, in the robots now,
Where Nano is located here in the chip?
over in the place of Uno now, actually we have placed Nano.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll actually draw it and show you. Just a minute. Like I need to open my freezing gun. Means each and every circuit now I'll be drawing it and showing it to you. Then you'll get an idea. Just give me a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Can you see a new screen? A white one, completely white one with a breadboard. Okay.
Oh, I got it.
So I'll be showing you the entire wiring and explaining it in the diagrammatic manner. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, okay.
It will take a bit of time. We need to see the. So ma'am, do you know what is the LED positive and negative? Can you identify the LED positive and negative? Hello? Yeah ma'am, hello.
Yeah, I lost my Wi-Fi network. Sorry.
Like I was just asking you, can you tell what is the LED's positive and negative?
LED?
I'm asking what is the LED's positive terminal and negative terminal. So So this is just like I'm directly giving you a brief session so that entire thing you can get an identity. Like I can go according to that.
No, from the picture you are asking.
Yeah, in the picture.
The first one is LED positive.
Okay. So we are saying that the bent one is the LED positive and the normal straight one is the negative terminal. So are you sure for
Negative.
that now? Ma'am?
Yeah.
Then actually the bent one is the positive. Directly when you place the cursor, you can directly see that actually. Not only the cursor, and also in reality also the LED, if you zoom them, the smaller portion is always the positive one and the bigger portion is always the negative one. So you can recognize that by seeing. Okay. I'm placing my resistors on the positive ones. Okay.
Okay.
Over here for nano and uno, both of them are the same actually. Only the thing is that the footprint of the system is it is small. And for nano, you need to place a breadboard. So already in the system also, can you watch my camera? There is a green color breadboard actually, which is placed at the below of the nano. Can you see that, ma'am?
Yeah, I'm seeing.
So the purpose of this thing is that entire robot becomes very small. This actually gives a good view also for the viewers also. Like anyone asks you, why you have used nanos and these things, because they are actually very small in the function, and also they are also you can fit it in any place. Got it? Even if it is actual obstacle avoidance system in a car, then you can't place a nano in a car, right? So not your uno in a car, because the footprint is big and you can't even adjust them in the existing circuits. But for nano, it is very small. You can directly put it in any kind of thing, and it also serves the application very nicely. So that's our choice. Okay, ma'am?
Okay, got it.
So the purpose for the first thing is that it compacts the entire robot. The size of the robot is very reduced, and also if it comes to the real life applications also, if you want to take this entire system and place it in a car also, you can do that. And the entire circuitry is very compact for us. So this gives a better packing and better wiring rate. So you can see both the LEDs are fixed with the resistors. Now we will be going with the motor driver and our ultrasonic circuit. So in the ultrasonic sensor, we actually have, yesterday I had told you the concept, right, ma'am? So why we use ultrasonic sensors? Yeah, ma'am.
Detect the object. To detect the object.
And also there is actually a simple physics principle behind this. So do you remember the name echolocation?
No.
So you know that actually echolocation is used by bats.
Bats?
Yeah. In Telugu we say gabilalu, right?
Yes, yeah.
So for those bats, they only rely on sound. They don't have eyes, so they only rely on sound. So their sound is actually in the wavelength of ultrasonic range. That is more than 20 kilohertz. So over here now we are using the same principle. Like the bats actually create a sound from their mouth and hear the sound from their ears. And in our case now, we are simply using a transmitter and a receiver. And it is the same principle which is used in the sonar also. Entire thing depends on echo only. We will be creating an echo of ultrasonic sound range, and we will be receiving it with the help of a receiver. And the receiver is nothing but a mic, a simple mic. And this entire thing is behind the concept is simple echolocation and sonar principle. So sonar, what is the full form of sonar, ma'am? You remember the full form of sonar, right?
No.
So the full form of sonar is sound navigation and ranging. You can note it down.
Yeah, I'm writing.
So over here now, in this sensor now, you can see we actually depend on the pins. So we have over here now, we have 4 pins for this sensor. You can see this now. I'm zooming it nicely. So in those 4 pins now, you can see we have, like, first one is the VCC, second one is the trigger, third one is the echo, and the fourth one is the ground. So we have got 4 pins over here, and this VCC is powering the sensor, and ground is, it is directly to ground the sensor.
Okay.
This time network, like another expert needs to come. So now over here now, I've already told you what is echolocation and what is sonar. So over here what we are going to do, we require to create an echo, and also we require to record that. So for that purpose now we have 2 pins. One is echolocation for creating echo, and second one is the trigger pin for the mic. Okay, ma'am? Got it right?
Okay. Yeah, got it.
So now we'll start with the wiring. But to go with the wiring now, it depends entirely on the code itself. So what is the code and what are the pins we are using? For every modules now there will be pins, and there will be associated numbers with them. For this now, actually for the behind the motor now, there is a simple concept for the motor driver module. In the motor driver module now, there is actually an IC that is placed over here, and in this IC now, what happens is that now it will be giving motors the command, like means the Arduino gives the command, and according to that now the entire IC will be allocating the terminals. So you remember the concept, right? Like when we switch the terminals of the motor now, the motor's direction will be, the rotation direction will be changing. It will be turning anti-clockwise or clockwise according to the terminals only. And for our robot's movement now, we need to create a motor movement, right? The tires need to move. Yes, no, ma'am? You are getting the point, right?
Yes.
So for creating such kind of motion, you need to have 4 pins essentially, which are for the positive and negative for the motors to run, right? So over here you can see these are the 2 terminal blocks which are used to connect the motors. Got it, ma'am? 2 terminal blocks.
Yeah,
We
got
have the 2 terminal blocks, and over this now we'll be adding 2 motors, and at the same time now essentially we'll be using 4 pins over here. This over
Are you
here,
recording the session?
yeah, ma'am, I'm recording, so that now you will be having it later. You can watch this. Okay, ma'am?
Okay.
So we have 4 pins, and these 4 pins now they serve as the terminal connection. Like you can switch the terminals if you want to move both the like if you want to move the robot forward, you need to turn both the motors forward, right? Both the motors should be rotating forward. Like you can see the screen now, ma'am, like my camera. Both the tires need to rotate forward, right? So to rotate them forward now, we need to give a control from the Arduino, because it's the controller, and this motor driver alone can like this motor driver module alone can't decide that. To create a decision making thing now, we are use this Arduino over here. Okay, ma'am?
Okay.
So in this now, like we have 4 pins, in 1, in 2, in 3, and in 4. Okay. So now in this now, like I'll be going with the code part. Like from the code part now, you'll be getting an idea how the connections are being done, how this entire thing is set up. Okay, ma'am? So that you can explain the code also. So I'm going for the code. Just give me a minute, I need to open that. Can you see the code, ma'am?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to ask a few questions like you are well versed with coding or else you don't know regarding like I just wanted to know
No,
that.
technology have used for coding.
It's C language, ma'am. It's a derived C. It's like the embedded C only. Because this Arduino, na,
Oh,
it entirely depends on C language only. C and C++.
so
You will be seeing both the
I don't
functions.
know.
Like you don't need to worry regarding the coding part, ma'am. I'll explain the code and you will see that is this simple. Got it? Like I'll
Yeah.
make it very
Yeah,
simple
I
for
don't know
you.
about embedded coding.
But I'll try to make it
Okay, I
as
don't know
simple as
embedded
possible.
coding.
But I'll make it simple for you,
Okay.
ma'am. Okay? Just need to
Okay.
remember these pin numbers and how the function is working. Okay?
Okay.
So you can see over here, right? First, we'll be beginning with the motor pins, like we'll be assigning them to the Arduino. So over here you can see, actually I'm using an in1, in2, in3 and in4, and I assign them to 4 numbers, 9, 8, 7 and 6. I
Okay.
will actually share my entire screen so that if you can see. So now we'll move on to the freezing. According to the code now, like for this motor driver, we need to assign this. So in the motor driver now, I'll zoom it to you. You can see over here, right? In 1, in 2, in 3 and in 4. Got it, ma'am?
Where it is on Arduino board?
In 1, in 2 and in 3, in 4 are actually on the motor driver module. And whereas 9,
Okay.
6, 7, sorry, 9, 8, 7 and 6 are all on the Arduino pin. I have already
Arduino.
told
Okay.
you.
Okay.
I have already told you
Yeah.
that now for making a decision for the motor driver module, now it depends on Arduino. For depending now, we need to create a corresponding nature, right? We need to make a communication between them. So to make that communication, now we are using these pins. We are connecting these pins to these pins. So according to the number, now we'll connect these pins. So over here now, I have told you it is 9. 9 for in 1, right? According to the code, you can see this one. According to the code, in1 is connected to 9, in2 is connected to 8, in3 is connected to 7, in4 is connected to 6.
Okay.
So now over here what you need to do, you need to connect this like 9 is connected to in1, 8 is connected to in2, it is connected to 7 is connected to in3, 6 is connected to in4. Okay, ma'am? Got this part?
Okay.
So now the motor driver control part is done. Now we are actually setting the pins. Okay, ma'am? Got it, right? Entire motor driver for the first thing, for communicating with the motor driver, we have done this. Now the major part is with the sensor. How are we going to communicate with the sensor? Okay? So which pins are connected to the sensor? Now for trigger pin, we are connecting with A0. And for echo pin, we are connected with A1.
Even. Okay.
Sorry. This code has changed. Yeah. Over here, we are actually for trigger pin, we are connecting with A1. And for echo pin, we are connecting with A3. You may now get a doubt. Actually, why we are using this A beforehand? So actually, A is for analog pins. And this 9, 8,
Analog.
yeah. And Arduino, no? You can see over this row, no? It is completely with analog pins and this row is completely with the digital pins. Got it?
Yeah.
On the top, no, there is one digital pin. It depends. Like we have got 6 analog pins over here. You can see, right?
Okay.
Not even 6. We have 7 analog pins. A0 to A7. So in this part now, what we are going to do, like now we'll go with the sensor. So now according to the sensor, Already I told which are the pins we need to connect, ma'am. Trigger pin is connected to, you remember right now, trigger pin is now connected to yeah, hello ma'am.
Yeah, hello.
So now you can tell, right, according to the code which pin is trigger pin connected to and echo pin connected
A1,
to, right?
A3. Yeah.
Okay. Now you tell me over here, trigger pin we need to connect it to,
A1.
okay, I'm connecting it to A1. Now echo pin should be connected to,
A3.
so it's done. So we are connected the main communication pins. These are the communication pins. But what about the power pins? VCC and ground are the power pins, right? Only due to these two pins we'll be powering up the sensor. So now we'll go with the major part, like the electronics. So you can see VCC should be connected with the 5 volt, and the ground is need to be connected with the ground pins.
Ground. Okay.
We have a lot of grounds on this nano. Okay, ma'am. So over here now for VCC, we are going to connect it with the 5 volt pin. And for this sensor now, ma'am, we can't use 3 volt. We even have 3 volt functions also on the nano. But 3 volt doesn't power up the Arduino nano, the sensor. So to power the sensor now, we need to give it at least 5 volt. Okay, ma'am?
Okay. Okay.
And now for the ground, you already have one pin over here. Got it right now? Now the sensor connection
Yeah.
is done
Got it.
and the motor driver connection is done. And now we'll be going for the indication system. For the indication now we are using 2 LEDs. Just a minute, I'll finish this. So for the indication now we are using a green LED, a red LED and a buzzer. So whenever an obstacle is detected, we require first a buzzing sound, right? So that now
Yes.
it can avoid the obstacle, or it can give an identity to the obstacle if it's a moving object. By hearing this buzzing sound now, it will move. Otherwise now our robot will avoid that obstacle. And during that process now we require a direct indication, right? For the vehicles also now we have a tail light which is in red color, right? For that now we are using a red LED, which is a direct indication that like it needs
Explain
to
once
work.
again.
Yeah, ma'am. Means can you tell me at
Explain
which
once
part you
again.
you got it out?
No, after LED have explained this, no? From there you explain again.
Like which LED, ma'am? The red LED and buzzing, right?
LED.
Actually, this indication system is it is similar to the vehicle's indication system. Got it, ma'am?
Hmm.
In the vehicles now, why we use red light? Red lights are used in the tail lights of the vehicle. So whenever an obstacle is detected now, it needs to give a red indication because it's an avoidance system, right? So in the avoidance system, a person should recognize if something is back of it, or for us now, we are actually controlling the robot. Over here we are seeing how the decisions are being made. So for that purpose now, the red LED will be showing that it is near an obstacle. So it will be giving a danger sign. So for the danger sign we use red color, right? So for that
Yeah.
sign now, the red LED is being used. For a green color, so the green color actually represents everything is fine. So for that
Okay.
purpose now, we are using green color. And this buzzing sound is buzzing sound has two purposes. If the object is going to move, like if the object is a movable object and it can move on its own, this buzzing sound hearing on this buzzing sound that any object which is ahead of it, it will move and give us a space. If not our robot will move by giving a sound, so that even when moving backwards the robot is going to move backwards, right? If any obstacle is there, first it needs to move backward a little bit and then it can take a turn. So to do that now, it needs to even give the buzzing sound, even if it wants to go ahead or also backwards also, because an indication must be given, so that now the back people should know that and also the front people should know that. So for that purpose now, here the buzzer is there. Okay, ma'am?
Okay, got it. Yeah, got it.
So now we are going to power this up. Actually in our sheet now, I told you we have some additional feature also, the voltage regulation one, but this for right now, we don't need to include it in the circuit. It's like that now, like while working with the hardware now, you may require it, so that I have put that feature. Okay, ma'am? For the entire project now, you don't require it. So now for the LEDs and for the buzzing part now, actually we need to allot them to some pins, right? So that we can communicate with them. So now we'll go into the code. Actually in the starting I have not connected them, so we need to go into the setup part now. In the setup now, what we have done, we are going to create an output and inputs for the Arduino, because it needs to control the entire system, right? So it should know what are the inputs and what are the outputs. So over here now we have made the trigger pin output and echo pin input. Got it, ma'am? Echo pin is connected with the mic and trigger pin is connected with the speaker.
Okay.
So now, and as for the motor terminals now, motor terminals in 1, in 2, in 3 and in 4 now, they are made outputs. And now here 4, 5 and 2 we have now. So you may get it out, what are these 4, 5 and 2. Now you go with these numbers logical in the chronological order, 9, 8, 7 and 6. Next, what are the numbers which are remaining? 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1, right?
2. Yes.
So now we'll go into this. Over here now, we are going to use digital pin D5, D4, D2. We have skipped D3. Okay, ma'am? We are going to use these 3 pins. Okay? For this purpose now we need to shift these LEDs over here. Now we need to identify which pin is connected to which LEDs. Right, ma'am? So now we'll go back into the code. In the code now, this is actually for the, you can say over here, right? Over here I'll explain the above concept, but before that now, 4, 2 and 5. Over here now, the 4th pin is actually in high position and 2 pin is in high position. So actually the 4 pin is connected with the red LED and 2 pin is connected with the buzzer. Over here now, you know the high and low concepts now, because digital pins only work on zeros and ones. Over here high means 1 and low means 0. Okay, ma'am? Yeah, hello.
She has left the meeting.
Let's wait.
Maybe she'll be joining us. Yeah.
You have messaged me something, ma'am, no? Yeah,
You
because
can
it's
check.
actually screen recording. No? I can't actually check. Even our voices also now we are speaking through the recording. I can't stop them also.
Then, Talent.
Yeah, ma'am. Hello.
I got some other call.
Okay. So, from which part did you leave off, ma'am? Like later I saw this, means I didn't know that you left.
After the buzzer, you have explained about the two LEDs, no? After that.
Okay, you didn't see the pin parts, which pins are connected to which LEDs, right?
No. From there.
Okay. Now in the code now, ma'am, over here I'll just tell you a concept. Since we are using digital pins, so in digital pins now, the digital pins will be working in the format of zeros and ones only. So over here you can see actually I programmed them in the concept of low and high. So here low means 0 and high means 1. Okay, ma'am? Whenever you give a signal, na, it comes in the high state. Means we are sending ones over there. And whenever we want to put the entire thing off, then we'll be sending the signals of zeros. Means we need to entirely cut down the signal. So that's the reason we are placing low. Means if it's in the high state, means we'll be sending the pulse, which is the positive sign. And if not, means the entire system will be cut off. Okay, ma'am? So according to that now, over here actually I'll go with the basic function like over here you can see if distance is less than 20. Got it, ma'am? So before that now, over here also we have 4 lines of code. You can see this, right?
Yeah.
So I've already told you this entire thing depends on digital pins. So for digital pins now, we need to give them the commands in highs and lows only. So according to this now, you can see over here what we have told digital write. Means we are telling those pins to write them. Means we are going to give the command. If you want to give a command now, we'll be using digital write. But if you want to read the command, then you will be using digital read. Okay, ma'am? So over here you can see the trigger pin is high for 10 microseconds. We are also giving a delay of 10 microseconds only. And again we are going to cut that signal. Means the speaker is on for 10 microseconds and it will be emitting waves nearly 20 kilohertz. And that is it is not in the range of the human audibility. So we can't hear them. Those ultrasonic waves. And they are emitted for 10 microseconds. After that now, we are going to stop that trigger pin. We are going to lower the trigger pin. Stop the signal for the speaker. And then we are going to gather the data. Means we need to gather the data of the echo, right? Means those waves will be reflecting back. So to gather those data for the waves which are reflecting back, the mic will be used. So the mic will be receiving them. So if you want to make the mic receive them now, then you need to give it a signal, right? The mic should be powered up. Only then it can receive a signal. At that time now we are going to power that mic, which is connected to the echo pin. Got it, ma'am?
Yeah, got it.
And over here now we are actually using a command. Over here we are using a pulse in function. Means to power up the mic now we are using pulse in. And this now when we get the signal now, entire thing is associated to a variable called as time. The entire thing which we are getting the data now, the sound that is connected to time, and then we are using a formula called as distance equal to time into, we are using a static number over here. According to the sensor now, to recognize the distance now, these numbers are used, ma'am. A direct formula is there, okay? Which is time into 0.034, a constant. Simply in our physics now, we will be having derived constants, right? For the sensor also now, this is a derived constant. 0.034 into time, we are going to do that. Okay, ma'am? And then we are going to divide it by 2. At that time, we will be getting the distance. Okay, ma'am?
Okay.
And that distance is now actually our obstacle and the robot's between distance. Got it? The obstacle and the robot. In between, what is the distance now? The distance we are getting over here in this distance variable. And according to this distance only now, the robot can take a decision. So for taking the decision now, we are actually setting up a range. If the robot is nearly like around 20 centimeters, if the distance is less than 20 centimeters now, then what are the functions it need to do first? Like entire robot is actually connected to, the motors are first connected to in1, in2, in3 and in4. 3 and 4
Here
are
why
connected
we
to,
use
Yeah, ma'am.
Here, why we use delay 10?
Delay 10 is actually for the microseconds, ma'am. I didn't type the entire thing over here, got it? You can directly tell like delay. For just an identification now, we have placed microseconds. Got it, ma'am?
Okay.
Means this actually, na, why the delay is used is, na, it is to keep the signal for that certain time period. For the 10 microseconds, na, the signal will be high and the entire process will be going on. And since this is in a loop now, after that it will execute these commands again, it will start this thing again. Got it, ma'am?
Okay.
So now we'll be going with the logic. So what is the logic for creating a motor movement? Means according to the obstacle only, na, the motor should move, and it can, according to that, the robot will be maneuvering. Got it, ma'am? How it will move, entire thing, how the robot navigation is being done, na, it depends on the distance itself. The sensor is going to give the distance, the data which is required for its automatic motion, how to avoid the obstacle. Okay? So over here now we are making the decision. If the distance is less than 20, over here I'll show you. I'm powering up the robot. So you can see over here, right, now my camera. Just tell me, like, because now I can't see my camera when sharing the screen. Okay. Can you see it, ma'am?
Yeah, I'm seeing.
So when I'm placing my hand, it is less than 20 centimeters, you can hear a buzzer sound, right? And the red LED is
Yeah.
glowing. Next, this is the danger sign. And the motors, actually I'm not powered up the motors. But in this condition, what it needs to do, first it needs to move back. At that time you can see, when I take off my hand, when the distance is moving away, the green LED is on. Right? And the buzzer
So
sound has
everything
stopped.
is safe. Okay, okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So now we'll go with the motors, how the motors will be communicating, like how the motors will work at this time period. Because according to that only the robot is working. So now over here you can see this in1, in2 and in3 and in4 pins which are connected to motor driver. You can see this right now, they are connected to the motor driver which is driving the motors, right? Now according to the logic, what we are going to do, first we are going to break it. Like if it's going to go with for the obstacle, it shouldn't hit the obstacle. So to stop avoiding hitting the obstacle, what we are going to do, we are going to stop the motors. So if you want to stop the motors, we are entirely going in the digital format, right? Like zeros and ones. So according to that, we need to cut the entire signal. So to cut the entire signal, you can see, we have completely made it low. For all the terminals, there is no power. So for that moment, the robot will stop. Got it, ma'am?
Okay.
And after that, the functions. For which over here 4 is high and 2 is high and 5 is low. So you may get a doubt, what is this 4, 2 and 5? So where 4 is actually the red LED. Because the red LED needs to get a signal, right? At this process, when the distance is less than 20, the red LED should be high and the motor should stop. According to that, we have made the 4, we have given it a high signal. Means the value of 1 is going over there and the voltage is being running into the LED. And in the same format, 2, which is nothing but the buzzer. So only at that time you can hear the buzzing sound, right? So this is because to these 2 lines of code. Got it? And also we need to also define the green LED also. What should the green LED do? The green LED now will be off. So you got the logic right now, ma'am. When it goes near the obstacle, what it is going to do first? Got it, ma'am?
Yeah, got it.
And now you can see what we are going to do. We are going to delay this entire process for 200 microseconds.
100. Okay.
200 microseconds, which is actually 20% of the second. 20% of 1 second. You can guess how much less time we are going to give this process. Okay, ma'am. And after
Okay.
that, it needs to do a sequence of operations. What are the sequence of operations? First, it has stopped and it is giving us an indication. Both the buzzer and red LED are on. Now it needs to move away from the obstacle because the obstacle is not moving away, right? It has waited for the time period, but the obstacle is not moving. So it's a static obstacle, means it won't move. So at that time, the robot decides the robot needs to move back and it needs to find the open space. So for doing that, the robot first moves back. To move that back, you can see over here what we have done. First, we are actually going with the LEDs and buzzer part. So in this, now only the red LED will be on, only the 4 will be on, and we will be offing the buzzer system. Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
We'll off the buzzer and we'll also off the green LED also over here. 5 is connected to green LED light. This thing entire system is off. After that, we need to create an inverse pattern. The motor needs to rotate anti-clockwise direction. To do that, one terminal should be ground and the another terminal should be positive. So the first terminal is made ground. When you cut the signal, it becomes ground. Okay, ma'am. And when it becomes when you send a signal, it becomes the positive terminal. According to that, both the motors will be moving backwards. Here both the motors will start moving backwards. Got it, ma'am? Both the motors
got
will
it.
start to move backwards. And once it moves backward, it will gather the distance also. Over here, I told you, I have given an option to actually check it in the system also for you. To check it in the system, over here you can see serial print moving back. This is the command to show that the motor is, the entire robot is moving back, and the distance, how much distance is there between the robot and the obstacle. Okay, ma'am, these are the 2 commands which we are using, and this entire process is done for an half second, which is 500 microseconds, which is 50% of 1 second. Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
So for that time period, it will move back. Like for a half second, it will move back, and then what it is going to do? Again, the red LED will be high only. Both the buzzer and green LED are off, and then it will start turning. It needs to turn red because it needs to find the new space, a new gap where this entire distance is free, which is more than 20 centimeters. So while doing that, it needs to turn. So to turn, what we are going to do, for moving back, we have put the terminals like low and high. Now to move back, like to take a turn, one motor should need to move backwards and one motor needs to move forward. Due to that, the entire robot will start rotating. Okay, ma'am. The entire robot will take a left turn. Got it?
Yeah, got it.
So according to that, the robot will start moving. It will start searching for it will search a distance which is more than 20. According to that, it will acquire the target. It will see like how much distance the obstacle and it is having, and according to that, it will first move. Entire thing, this is done like over here. It is done for another half second, another 50% of the second. You can see we have delayed it for 500 microseconds. And again, you can see over here what we are told: serial print, left turn. In the system now, if you have connected this to the computer now, ma'am, you can see that what it is going to do and how much distance it is there ahead of it. Those values will be coming onto your system. Okay, and if the distance is more than 20, so that is the condition, right? Only if the distance is less than 20, we are going to move the robot backwards and turn it. But if the distance is more than if the distance is more than 20, then what is the format? That's the reason we have placed else. If the distance is more than 20, else what we are going to do? We are going to first off the 4 LED, which is the red LED. The signal is cut off for the red LED and the buzzer, and the green LED is now put in a high state. Means the green LED is getting its voltage. At that time, the green LED will be glowing. Got it, ma'am?
Yeah, got it.
And now it needs to move forward. So to move forward, what we are going to do? The first pin is given positive terminal, the second pin is made negative terminal, and it is the same for the second motor also. You can see, right, how the high low and states are changing. Over here, what we have done to move it backwards now, we have changed the terminals to, the first pin is changed to negative and the second pin is changed to positive for the first motor, similar to the second motor. In this condition now, it will move backwards. Got it, ma'am? Now if you want to move forward, you need to make it the opposite, right? So we are doing the same thing over here. Got it, ma'am? And this entire process is done for 500 microseconds. And again it will start to search the distance. Entire this process after for moving 500 microseconds now, for half the second, again it will go to this line, because this entire thing is in a loop, right? In the code, looping means, you know now, ma'am, the concept of looping.
No, I don't know.
The concept of looping is very simple, ma'am. Means it will repeat the function. It will repeat the process entirely. Over here now, it will take the decision first. In the loop now, what we are going to do first, we are going to gather the distance. After getting the distance, we are saying if the distance is less than 20 means, we will run these commands. If not, it will run the forward commands. Got it, ma'am? Again, after when it completes all these functions now, it will move back to the first statement again. It will again gather distance. Again, it will see if the distance is less than 20. Now, if the distance is not less than 20 means, again it will run forward. Got it, ma'am?
Okay.
Now you got the logic, right? What is the how it is avoiding the obstacle and how it is moving. So this is the entire thing now. So over here you can see what we are going to do. Like over here now, if you are connected to the system now, if the distance is more than 20 means, it will show directly the robot is moving ahead and how much distance is before the robot. How much distance is ahead the robot. Okay, ma'am? So this is the code. According to this only now, your connections are made. You can see, right? According to this now, we are going to connect it. Okay, ma'am. I hope you understood the connections and the code. How the entire robot is now working.
You have recorded, no? 1 second, I will listen that.
Okay, ma'am. If you have any more doubts now, you can ask me.
No.
And for you now, the entire schematic now we'll be sharing with the document. At that time now, you'll be getting an idea.
Okay.
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 So this is regarding the robot now. So the entire concept, I think you have got it. The entire code and the entire robot. Then I'm going to end this session. So if you have still any more doubts to ask me now, you can ask me.
No doubts.
No doubts, right? Then okay. Then I'm going to end this session. And as for the power up connections, now I'll just explain you. Then so over here now, actually a 9-volt battery is connected. Actually require two 9-volt batteries. Means individually you need to power up the Arduino, and at the same time now you need to power up the motor driver module also. So to do that now we are using two motors. Two batteries. If you want to only use one battery now, then what you need to do is that now you can simply connect this one battery to this motor driver module, and from the motor driver module now you need to put two wires and you need to power up the Arduino. Okay, I'll actually put that direct that kind of system and send it to you. For testing purpose now we have used two batteries. Means to power up this entire thing now, you need to power up the Arduino separately and you need to power up the motor driver separately. Okay, ma'am?
Okay.
Already the straps are also given. On the top nut there will be two additional straps. Just ignore them. Means these are actually for the voltage regulation purpose. Sometimes now what happens is that now whenever you start using a new battery now, the robot will be on full power, right? At that time now, it will be going to the object and it will be also possessing some kinetic energy, right? Already you know physics, right? And what happens whenever there is a movement now, it will start moving even after cutting off the signals also, na? It will move somewhat forward. Okay, ma'am? So to do that, na, actually that's the problem. It will somewhat hit the obstacle sometimes. So to avoid those kind of things, na, actually what we do is that na, we increase the range over there. That's the reason actually if it is 10 centimeters distance, na, I want to avoid it. Due to this kinetic energy process, na, what I'm going to do is that na, I'm actually increasing it to 20 centimeters. By 20 centimeters, if it detects, na, it will be directly moving somewhat forward. But at 10 centimeters, na, it will stop. And again it will go back. Also, remember simply, ma'am, do you ride any vehicle, ma'am? Like to make it
No.
simple, na? Means, for example, already you may have observed this. While riding a vehicle, na, when the person gives an acceleration, na, when the vehicle moves, na, even if it brakes the vehicle also, na, the vehicle will move somewhat forward. Right? You remember
Yes,
that
yes.
concept, right? That is the same thing in this robot also. For every robot, due to that kinetic energy, na, it will try to move somewhat forward. While braking it, na, it will, even though the signal is cut, na, it will move somewhat forward. And after that, na, to stop that, according to that, we need to adjust it, right? Even the driver also, when if he wants to see, if he sees an obstacle, na, according to that, what he will be doing while riding also, na, if the distance is somewhat like it, even if it has more distance also, na, he brakes it beforehand so that na, he won't hit that obstacle. In the same format, na, if I just wanted to give it a range like 10 centimeters between the obstacle and the robot, but what happens, like if we give that ideal conditions over here, na, due to that kinetic energy, na, the robot will move forward and it will be very likely to hit the obstacle. To avoid that, na, what we are going to do, we are giving an additional 10 centimeters. So by that, na, the robot will move ahead, but it will stop by nearly like a gap. It will give a gap like 10 centimeters around, and it will stop. And again, it will perform its backward going sequence and turning sequence, and it will see which is distance is greater than 20, and according to that partner, it will move. Okay, ma'am? So I think now you have got an entire idea. You have got an entire clarity. Okay?
About the robot, I was clear about it, but
Mm.
about the code, many doubts are there.
Like
If
in
I
the
listen
code,
it
na,
repeatedly,
I didn't get you,
so
ma'am.
you have
According to the,
you have recorded the session, right?
yeah, ma'am.
So once
That
again,
is.
I will listen about this, about the
Okay.
code. If I get any doubt, I will message you.
Okay. Okay, then this is regarding the entire robot. So I think you have got a clarity. Okay, ma'am. If you have any more doubts now after the shipping also, you can directly contact Onkavation Technology like manager, and they will be directly informing me. Also, if you want to directly tell me also, you can directly message me. Okay, ma'am?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Then I'm going to end this session.